guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel, and today it's a new topic that I wanted to cover because I've been seeing a lot of TikTok videos about ex-Christians or just people that don't believe in God kind of confused, and I hope that this video kind of like clears some stuff up, or like at least opens up like something to talk about. I don't know, but let's get into it. Is being a good person enough? I've actually thought about this myself before I even like gave my life to Christ. I was definitely on the side of questioning a lot of things, and it's totally okay to question. I know the church makes it seem like it's not, but then if that's the church you're in, then that's not a good church, because at least my church definitely not scared to answer them, because when you know the truth, like nothing else really matters. So let's start with the definition of a good person. Google says someone who is a good person is someone who is kind, honest, and considerate of others. And that's a great definition. I totally do think that that's some of the characteristics that a good person has. But in the Bible, in Ecclesiastes 7, chapter 7, verse 20, it says, "Not a single person on earth is always good and never sins." So that's very important to know, because no one is perfect. So I would say calling yourself a good person is subjective. Like, I can call myself a good person, but like I still do this and this and this, and like someone else could also call themselves a good person and they might be like a totally terrible person. Like, I could call myself a good person, and then someone else in my family or friends could not call me a good person. So it's like, just because you think you are a good person doesn't mean the people around you think you're a good person. And that's why calling yourself a good person is super complicated, because it's like, it's subjective. Anyone can really just call themselves a good person. Even like a person in jail could call themselves a good person. And so this is why we need to know that no one is perfect, therefore we need salvation. In Ephesians chapter 2 verse 9, it says, "Salvation is not a reward for the good things we have done." So none of us can boast about it. We can't like get all in our heads about it, because if you go up to God, like let's say you're in heaven on Judgment Day, and Jesus is the one that's going to judge you guys, because he is the one that's never sinned. So on Judgment Day, he's going to ask you, maybe, I don't know, like if he were to ask you, what do you deserve to go to heaven? And then you start like saying, oh, I did this, I did this, I did this. That literally defeats the purpose, because you're only saying all the good things, but then you're not also acknowledging all the wrong things that you did, because no one is perfect. And that is why the perfect answer to that question is, I don't deserve to go to heaven. No one deserves to go to heaven, but we are able to because of Jesus. And that is why when you say you have faith, your actions will show that you have like faith, like actually a good amount of faith, because especially faith in Jesus specifically. James 2:17 says, "So you see, faith by itself isn't enough. Unless it produces good deeds, it is dead and useless." Your actions plus your faith equals salvation. Because when you truly have faith in God, in Jesus, and who he is and who he represents, you're gonna be able to actually act like that and like show it to the people around you. In James chapter 2 verse 21 to 22 says, "Don't you remember that our ancestor Abraham was shown to be right with God by his actions when he offered his son Isaac on the altar? You see, his faith and his actions worked together. His actions made his faith complete." Faith also equals obedience, guys. And that is why when you have faith, you obey God, and all he really wants you to do is literally the characteristics of a good person is what God would like from you. But it's like, you need to have that faith to like connect all three of them, you know? So how do you get saved, if that's like what you're asking? Romans chapter 10 verse 9 says, "If you openly declare that Jesus is Lord and you believe in your heart that God raised him from the dead, you will be saved. You literally just have to believe that in your heart and declare it. If you get baptized, that's like an open declaration to the world that you believe in Jesus. The thing is that God sees us all as equals. He literally sees each sin as the same. No, like my sins are not worse than the person next to me, and their sins aren't like less than my sins. So it's like it's all equal. It's all an equal playing field. Honestly, I kind of like the idea of that, because then it would really feel like drowning to even like try to start comparing sins and all that. Like it's just a whole deal. And so that's why when you truly have faith in Jesus, your actions will reflect that. Your fruits, your good fruits will, like, literally, you won't be able to hide it, honestly. The only thing I would say is strive to be more Christ-like. Don't strive to be a good person. Sometimes even as a good person, we're like, well, they did this to me, like I'm not gonna talk to them ever again, or like you're not as like forgiving or accepting of people. You're basically like very picky on when you choose to be a good person. And when you have faith in God and you actually truly live out his commandments that he gives us in the New Testament, which is love God and love your neighbor, all those 2 commandments actually connect to the first 10 commandments, because you cannot love God and also not obey the first 4 commandments of the Old Testament, and you cannot love your neighbor and also not obey the last 6. So it works together, and it's kind of crazy how God created it that way. Yeah, guys, I know this is such a confusing topic for people that don't have Jesus in their heart. I totally get that. Like, I was like you. I was very closed-minded. I wasn't very open to understanding anything else but my own understanding. But when you really dive deep and stop focusing on the church and what the church says, and actually go to the Word of God yourself, and like actually have an open mind and actually give it a chance, not just try to like look for anything you can use against God, you're gonna get a whole like revelation of who God is, and he's gonna reveal himself to you. Yeah, that's all I gotta say. If you like what I said today, or if you have any questions, comments, anything, comment it down below and I'll try to answer it as best as I can. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you want, and yeah, I'll see you in the next video. God bless.